Melissa with Bright Minds Marketing, and today I thought I'd share with you how to make an awesome online graphic design portfolio. This is something that I've always struggled with as a designer, and I've found that even though my work I thought looked pretty good, I wasn't able to display it online, or in print for that matter, in a way that really made me feel confident about what I was doing. That is, until recently. I stumbled upon a few tips and tricks that I would love to share with you, and hopefully you can take your online graphic design portfolio to the next level.
So let's begin. How to make an online graphic design portfolio. What we'll cover in this YouTube is my secret to making your work look awesome. Like I said, in my past, this has been very challenging. I found that my work looked pretty good online in maybe a PDF format, but I'd have to get it professionally printed and then photograph it, and then edit the photos, and a lot of times the photos might come out blurry or too dark, and I just really wasn't happy with it, and I'm not a professional photographer, nor did I have the desire to learn or purchase photography equipment, so this really wasn't working for me, and then also it was kind of time consuming, so when I'd have a new project, I would never add it to my portfolio. Next, we'll cover how to implement this secret. I'll give you all the details step by step on how to make your portfolio look awesome, and then we'll talk about where to create your portfolio. Do you put it on your own website, or are there other platforms that you might be able to put it on, or both? Number 1, my big secret. So what is the big secret to making your work look awesome? The answer, my friends, is Photoshop product mockups. Now some of you might be aware of what these are, and if you're like me, you had no idea these existed. So basically, someone else created this gorgeous PDF, and all you need to do is upload your files, and it kind of drops it in the file for you. So no longer do you need to go professionally print all your pieces and hope to photograph them just right, and that all your work looks consistent year after year. Let me show you an example of what some of my work looks like when you drop it into Photoshop product mockups, such as what you see here. We'll go back to that slide in a second. Actually, no, let's talk about this first. So, what do these Photoshop product mockups, what can you use them for? You could use them for things like brochures, newsletters, folders, vehicles, all sorts of vehicles, business cards, pretty much you name it, and there's a Photoshop mockup for it. And you can get really creative with how you display your work, because if you just show a logo, people maybe don't understand its potential, but if you are able to show it on stationery, a side of a vehicle, on a building, then people can really see the work that you've done. So now let's talk about some of the things that I've done with it, and you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Here is a 8.5 by 11 newsletter that I did for a client, and you actually fold it in half so it can turn into a mailer as well. And all I needed to do was drop these files in, and it was good to go. The nice thing about a lot of these files is you can customize the background. So if you want it to be solid white or on wood, or put it in an environment that piece might be natural in, those are all options, but I found in my portfolio this made my work look somewhat cluttered. So I just found this nice gray gradient, and that seems to work well for most of my pieces and the overall design of my website. This file that I'm talking about here, I believe there are 8 files in one, so you can show off what that piece looks like in many different angles and with multiple ones stacked on top of each other, you name it. Here's that same file that I purchased because I have 2 projects that are 8.5 by 11s folded in half. This one's kind of like a short form catalog. And then I also have a handful of brochure designs, and this is something really challenging to show people because if you just show them a flat PDF file, it really doesn't do your design justice. They want to see it, excuse me, they want to see it folded up, they want to see the angles, the shadows, everything that can really bring your design to life. This cropped really poorly just so I could get it in the frame, but you can also put your logo on apparel, and you could have just a flat t-shirt, or you could just show them the logo and tell them that it goes on a t-shirt, but why not put it on a t-shirt? This design here is actually a free Photoshop file that I found, and you can drop any color you want over the shirt. This one's kind of a little dramatic since it didn't play with white too well, but I'm sure you can touch that file up as you need to. And then there's also a lot of ways to display your logo. So in the past, I would just show my logo on a white background. And while you can still do this, you can also angle it. You could put it on a wood surface, on a metal surface. You can put it on stationery. So you can really show people what that logo looks like in real life. Here's an example of some business cards. Instead of just showing the front and the back in a plain PDF file, like I said I used to do, why not have a stack of business cards like you would commonly see? This really adds some depth to the design, and I think it looks pretty good. So how do you do this exactly? Well, what all great things start with is a little bit of internet research. I highly recommend finding the free stuff where you can. And one way you can go about doing this is search using phrases such as free Photoshop mockups, free PSD mockups, etc. If you're trying to find something really specific or in a certain size, this can be more difficult, but you should be able to find a lot of mockups this way for things like brochures, business cards, logos. My problem with a lot of these is that it provided a very inconsistent look to my entire portfolio. So at first I thought I wanted a wood surface and a white surface and things like that, but when I looked at it as a whole, it looked pretty messy. But I was also able to find some gems in there. And I also found some files that looked really well. They were advertised brilliantly, but as soon as I stuck them into Photoshop, they were very hard to work with, and it took over 10 minutes just to open a file, or what involved a lot of complicated stuff. I'm a fairly basic Photoshop user, so when it comes to actions and all this other big stuff, I'm not sure how to work with that as much. So I probably spent a day trying to find free stuff where I could, and then I went over to graphicriver.net. And this is really where I found the gems. So if you search for product mockups, and I'll give you a link below, and if you use that link, I should get some credits to buy more stuff. Woohoo! But there's a lot of product mockups on there, and people sell these for probably $5 to $12 a piece, somewhere in that price range. And it could be expensive, but in my mind, it's a really great deal because you could even use them to show clients what their products will look like in real life. It really shows them the design in a way they wouldn't otherwise see. So I think I ended up buying 3 mockups total that I wasn't able to find for free, and I still use them frequently, and they really add a lot to my portfolio. So to me, $30 was totally worth it, because otherwise I would be spending a lot of time and a lot of money trying to do it all myself and trying to learn the photography skills, or even hiring a professional photographer. And then when I had new projects I wanted to add to my portfolio, I'd have to hire them again. So to me, $30 was a bargain. Let me show you what this site looks like, if I can jump out of this here. So here's graphicriver.net, and I am in the print mockups category. And you could honestly spend hours on this site, but if you look on the left here, you'll see all the subcategories like business cards, stationery, posters, brochures. And some of my projects had very specific sizes, so definitely check the sizes, because I actually bought things in the wrong size. Like, it looked like an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, and it turns out it was not that at all. And this company does, I say their customer service is pretty good, because I had a problem and I didn't understand what the size was, so I was able to get a refund on that product, so that's pretty nice. But if you don't find what you're looking for free, definitely check out this website, and like I said, you'll probably find something for maybe $5 that works really well for you. And now I'm going to show you what one of these files looks like. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention, make sure that you're getting something with smart object features, and I'll explain to you what that is in a second here. So here's the mockup file that I purchased, and this already has my design files in it. It's actually a restaurant menu mockup, and that's not at all what this is. It's far from a restaurant menu, but I don't care because it had the dimensions that I needed. So if you look on the right here, these green sections are what the smart objects are. So let's look at the outside front design, which I believe is the page on the far left. And all you need to do is double click in the smart object thumbnail. Click OK. and it's going to bring up a file, and all you need to do is override this with your own file. So that's what it looks like when you open it. And then I just dropped my PDF in there. You hit File, Save. And this should save relatively quick. My computer's been a little bit slow lately. Actually, we're just going to hit cancel, but you get the idea. You'll want to save so you can upload your files. And then you go back to the master document, and you should see whatever you uploaded in that place. Sometimes it could take a little bit of trial and error if you need to nudge it to get it just right. And then also a lot of these have a background that you can upload or change it out. So this is really great. And then what you'll want to do is potentially crop the file. It's probably a good idea that all your portfolio pictures are the same size. And I made sure that mine were fairly large and in fairly good resolution, just because I wanted to make sure that they were very, very clear. So that's a little bit about those Photoshop files. Like I said, they're very easy to work with, and I highly recommend them. They will make your work look awesome with minimal effort and minimal skill. And the third thing I'd like to talk about are the platforms that you can use to build your portfolio. The first option, which a lot of people go with, is their own website. And I personally recommend WordPress, and there's a lot of themes that are very portfolio friendly. I like Divi by Elegant Themes because it's downright sexy and it's very user friendly. Let me show you what that looks like here. Here's my website, and I do have a bit of web design skill, but I wouldn't consider myself a coder, so I like themes that are very easy to work with, and I do my own CSS and some HTML here and there, but for the most part, I really like this theme. It has a pre-built portfolio feature in it, so all you need to do is upload your files, and it'll make this really nice arrangement for you here. Now let's go into one of the files so I can show you what it looks like. Because a lot of times you probably don't just want one picture. Maybe if it's a logo, but even then probably not. You probably want to show different angles or little features of the logo. Let's go into this newsletter that I already showed you a picture of. So right here in my portfolio, I've included a project description, which is optional, and then you have your project details. So here I've listed the client, the date, and then any skills that I'm showing off, which here is print design, branding, and marketing, but you can put whatever you want there, and some portfolios even allow the user to filter by skill. So maybe they only want to see your web design portfolio, but not your logo design portfolio. So these are the pictures from that Photoshop file that I was showing you. These are just a few of the angles and the varieties that you can get. So here you have the cover of the newsletter open, and then also what the back looks like, and you can imagine what it looks like folded up. We have a nice picture of it open. Here's the back side of it open. There's just the front, and some of these get kind of redundant, so you probably don't need to show all varieties on every single project, but at least it gives you something to work with. And then these files are very high quality, so you can actually zoom in, and I just thought it'd be fun to kind of zoom in on features of the newsletter so they can see the little icons and a little bit of detail, and it just makes the whole piece a little bit more interesting. And I think that's the last picture I have in this section. So that just gives you an idea of what these photos can look like on a website, and my style is very, very clean, lots of white space, and I think that this style of a portfolio really reflects that. The next platform you can use is LinkedIn, and while you might not want this to be your only portfolio, let me show you a little bit of how you can upload these pictures on there to make your profile look much nicer. So here is my LinkedIn profile, trying to lock up on me at the moment. So what you do is you can upload work that you've done in any given position. So right here I have my own business, which is Bright Mind Marketing, and I have uploaded projects that I've done under this name. I've also completed other work while I had graphic design positions, and I could put all this in one place, but it is kind of nice to put it what you've done for each job. And honestly, I'm not sure how many people look at this or have seen this, but if anyone does find it, I think it's nice to have on there. It makes your profile a little bit more interesting, and also it's an easy way to share your profile, your resume, your work, all that with other people through a simple link. I believe you can upload many photos per project here, but that's not something that I've done. And there's lots of platforms you can use, but the last one I want to share is Behance. And the description of Behance is showcase and discover the latest work from top online portfolios by creative professionals across industries. And this is actually an Adobe product, I believe. I've had a profile with them for about 3 years, but only a couple months ago did I update it and kind of realized what it was about. So here you can have a profile, you can insert what you do or your job position, the business that you're with, your location, your website if you have one. Other people can view your project and appreciate your project. I don't care too much about that. You can include your focus, so what your unique skills are. You can link to other places that you are around the web, such as Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Google+, things like that. You can include an About Me section in your profile, your work experience, and even what you're seeking, or your contact information. So I'm not sure how many people really go straight to Behance to find creative professionals, but I can tell you that within the first month of having this up, I did get a lead and someone contacted me asking me what my availability was for work. I'd consider it a very weak lead. I really have a feeling that they probably sent out a mass email to as many people as they could find, because I'm not sure why they found me. They didn't say that they liked any specific works, anything like that. But that's just one place that you can display your portfolio. And again, it's really easy to share that. So if you want something very quick and you're not on LinkedIn, I definitely recommend Behance. And a few other helpful tidbits that I'd like to share with you that might make this whole process a little bit easier. One is to create descriptions. You might want to tell someone looking at your work a little bit about the project, about the goal, maybe something that they wouldn't know by looking at your photos, whatever you think is appropriate. And along those same lines, you'll really want to think about who the audience of your portfolio will be. Are you trying to get a job with a design agency? If this is the case, you're really going to want to showcase all the skills that you know, so you might want to heavily talk about the design process like you're talking to another designer. Are you trying to get your own clients? If this is true, they might not necessarily care about all the details and how you made a certain design. They might want to know how you can do this for them and the goal that you accomplished. Maybe this particular marketing piece brought them X new customers or leads. That might be something that a potential client would want to know. Or do you just want it just because? This is the boat I used to be in. I really didn't know who I was targeting, but it was still nice to have a place online to display my work. And also, once you have a nice online portfolio, know that you have this tool in your toolbox. If you're anything like me, in the past people would always ask me for my work at times when I would least expect it. And I had a lot of anxiety because I didn't have something that I could easily show them. So I'd end up having to browse through all the files on my computer and trying to hack something together that looked halfway decent, and then I'd always worry when I hit that send button. Now, when someone asks me for my portfolio or my work, I could easily just copy and paste a link and have a lot of confidence that this is the absolute best that I can do.
So there you have it, all my tips and tricks on how to build an awesome online graphic design portfolio. If you're interested in hearing more tips and tricks about graphic design, web design, or marketing, then subscribe below, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.